Morning all, hope you're doing well. 1 week to football. Bundesliga is back next weekend. I'm looking forward to it a bit more than I thought I would. And I don't think the Premier League is too far behind, or certainly a date being given for when that is back. Big meeting on Monday. But what if the Premier League doesn't go back? Well, this is the latest news. It's not news, we knew this, but the possibility of it happening is the latest news, and that is points per game, but using home and away. So points per game were used just as an average. West Ham finished 16th, regardless of home and away. If you just took the current games, current total, used that and got your points per game, West Ham's is 0.93. That would finish us 16th, so if the league doesn't go ahead. However, if the league doesn't go ahead and they go to a weighted one, which is we take into consideration home points, away points, and what fixtures you had left if they were home or away, West Ham would finish 18th. We would get relegated by just under 0.2 points. I mean, at least we'd make history, the first team to go down by a 0.2 point, and that'd be, I would say, interesting. It wouldn't be interesting, would it? Maybe for everyone else that doesn't support West Ham. But this is where it's starting to get a bit blackmaily for my liking. This is being used now as a stick. I say a stick, actually. It's been used as almost a threat to try and get the teams that don't want to play at neutral venues. Now, the police have come out. The police have said neutral venues is the thing. So it's not the Premier League is trying to push the neutral venues on the clubs. It's beyond them. It's the advice they're being given from the police, and apparently the government as well are saying, no, you have to use neutral venues. This is the safest way. So it's neutral venues or nothing by the sounds of it. That's what's going on the table on Monday, and the clubs are going to have to vote, yes, we'll return at neutral venues, or no, we don't return. And then this is where the points per game thing comes into, because you've then got three options. Void the season completely. Well, you've got four. Void the season completely. Table stands as it is, which I cannot see anyone voting for that bar the people at the very top. And then you've got points per game, two different ways, okay? But I think it's going to get played to finish. And the neutral thing is where it's the bottom six. That's a new tag, isn't it? It's always been top six, top six, top six. But this last week, all I've heard is bottom six, bottom six, bottom six, because they're the ones, we're the ones against neutral venues. Understandably, I've discussed it in previous videos. I think it's madness that you would accept a neutral venue if you're a club fighting relegation. Just like if Liverpool, Man City, was a point in it at the top, I wouldn't expect Man City to want to play their home games away from the Etihad, or Liverpool with Anfield. Why would they? But anyway, neutral venues it is. I think that's the thing. I'm becoming, as time comes on, leading up to Monday, I'm becoming certain of a few things. One is the football will return. Two, it will be played at neutral venues. I think we're just going to have to agree because of the reasons I've just said. It's almost blackmail. West Ham will very much be getting warned. If you vote against neutral venues and then we vote and the clubs decide to go with points per game, taking in home and away into consideration, you finish 18th. That's the risk. This is why Villa are a bit more open. We've always heard that Villa is a bit more open to neutral venues than the rest of us down the bottom. And this is why, because they get relegated on all the scenarios. The table stands, they go down. Points per game in general, they go down. Points per game home and away, they go down. So I can understand why Villa are probably wanting to take the risk of fulfilling their fixtures and trying to stay up that way, because any other way, they're back in the Championship. The same applies to Norwich, but they don't seem to be quite as hesitant as Aston Villa. There's some other clubs getting thrown into the mix now that don't like the neutral venues. Southampton, Sheffield United. And I think there's going to be a weekend now behind the scenes where clubs are ringing the other clubs trying to persuade them. It's now politics. It's now not quite brown envelope stuff, but it's very much, trying to persuade people, anyone that you're close to that's on the other side of the table, you're going to be trying to speak to them, get them over to your side, because Monday they need 14 yeses to play at neutral venues. And we're getting told the bottom six is the barrier in that. Well, if the bottom six are the only barrier, they're still going to get the 14 votes, aren't they? But all it takes is one club to switch over to the no, and suddenly it's no decision. We don't have a thing, and they carry on. We kick the can down the road a little bit further. As the points per game thing, do I think it's fair? I think it's possibly fairer than voiding it to an extent, because then you get some sort of conclusion. But the thing is, if you take home and away into consideration, I think if you're going to do that, I think you've got to take into consideration other things, which is the difficulty of the fixtures. Are you telling me that I think it's Brighton? I'm sure it's is it Brighton? I'm sure it's Brighton for some. No, it's not Brighton. Oh, I should have wrote this down. Maybe it's Villa then. There's a team down the bottom who's played all of the top 6 at home already. And it might be Villa actually. So the remaining fixtures they've got at home are not in top 6. So they've got the mid-table and relegation candidates. So if you take their points per average for home games, of course it's going to be low. They've just played the best teams in the league at home, but yet they've still got to play the easier fixtures. So I think if you're going to take home form into consideration, I think you've got to almost take into consideration that the fixtures remain. I know there's a swings and roundabouts argument to this, and that is, well, their away games have then been easier, haven't they? Naturally, but teams down the bottom tend to rely on everyone tends to rely on their home form a bit more. But obviously Man City and Liverpool's away form will be just as good as their home, won't it? So yeah, it looks like the police is pushing this for the neutral. I think the neutral is going to get signed off on Monday, truth be told. I think on Monday we're going to hear that Premier League will be played to finish at neutral venues in the middle of June onwards. Now, there's a couple of new rule changes coming about. I'm not going to go into too much detail. The first one's a bit silly, isn't it? 5 subs. 5 subs. There's going to be 3 occasions, but I don't get it. I don't get the. I think I must be missing something. I don't get the benefit of an extra 2 subs, because why? We're not playing with injuries. We're playing with there's chances of having possibly picking up a virus. That's not going to. Someone's not going to. I don't get it. I still get the 5 subs. This is only going to benefit those with better and bigger squads. I know the title's already decided. Manchester City right now, if they were equal points with Liverpool, they'd be rubbing their hands at having 5 subs during a game, wouldn't you? I mean, imagine bringing on Mahrez, Aguero, Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden. Imagine being able to bring all them on. Crikey. No. I don't get the 5 subs thing. I don't get it. If you're going to play 90 minutes of football, then you're already exposed to the risk, aren't you? So what difference does it make if you've got 3 subs or 5 subs? I don't know. I must be missing something for that. Then the other one, which I know there's another couple of things, another few rules, like celebrating, I think is completely. There's no celebrating. Well, what's the point in that? Because they're already jostling at corners and stuff, so what difference does it make? They might as well celebrate. Well, let the players celebrate. We need to get this competition that does resume as close to the original one as possible. Now, that's not ever going to happen due to players being hesitant, squads being depleted because players don't want to play. We're seeing more and more managers now coming out and saying that actually I'm not going to force my players back, which is the right thing. So Solskjaer's the latest one, Chris Wilder. They've said if my players don't want to play, they're not going to play, kind of thing. I think all 20 managers will take that approach. However, the chairman of the clubs may not be as lenient because they need to. It depends really. If you're down the bottom, you're going to be a bit more pleased. Can everyone come back because we need to stay up, kind of thing. Middle of the table, you can not get away with it, but you don't mind it too much. Extending the squads, though, is an interesting one because I guess this is where you get a bit selfish. West Ham, we wouldn't really benefit. There's no one really we haven't got registered that we'd think, oh yeah, that'd be handy to have back. Winston Reid was to return, but could it make a big difference? Probably not. Villa would benefit the most, off the top of my head, with Tom Heaton and Wesley, because they didn't register them for the second half of the season as they were out for the season with injuries. But now there's a chance they might be fit now because we're now into the summer, so they could be re-registered. And I can understand that one though, given if people might have to go into self-isolation, you need a bigger pool as possible to choose from, and also there'll be players at that pool that just don't want to play. The one rule change that they're debating that I don't like is no VAR. For the reason I've said, we need to keep the competition as close to what it was prior to all this. Now VAR, whether you like it or not, I'm not here to debate whether I think VAR is good or not, but I think we need to finish it. We've had it for 3/4 of the season. We've got to have it for the final quarter. But also, it's arguably more important now than ever. Could you imagine getting relegated by a goal that shouldn't have been given for offside or whatever reason? And then because VAR wasn't in place, you're relegated off the back of it. Yet for the first 3 quarters, it's been fair and square. It has made mistakes, but let's just say it hadn't. Fair and square for the first week. And then the last quarter, there's human errors everywhere. and teams are being punished as a result of it. The law of averages is gone. You can't rely on the last quarter for law of averages. That's a 38 game period. We've got to have VAR here. I'm aware that means more people have to go in the ground and check it's working. I'm aware that means people in a room checking the situation that's going on. But this is where they're going to have to adapt it a little bit. We're getting told now that the research suggests that it's safer outside than it is inside. Hence the relaxation of the exercise periods in Wales only so far. But this is where it's all adding up. This is why I think the government are not happy, but the government are okay to let Premier League football resume because it's being played outside. If it was an indoor sport, I don't think it would go ahead, but it's not. So I think you have to take that into consideration for the VAR people. Is there a way you can set it up so they're actually outdoors, whether it's under a big gazebo or something? I don't know. But also those people, the referees, the VAR assistants, will be tested as well. So they should be able to go into that room knowing everyone in the room is tested negative within the last 24 hours. So it should be as safe as possible for them, really. We've got to have VAR. We've just got to. And also the big disadvantage of VAR so far is how long it takes. Now, who suffers the most from VAR taking ages? The fans in the ground. There isn't any of them now. We've removed the people that suffer the most from VAR. So VAR takes a minute or two. Yeah, okay, the players aren't going to like it, and at home you're going to get a bit frustrated, but the fans in the ground aren't there. So this is now almost the perfect opportunity to, I was going to say trial VAR, but it's past that, isn't it? But it's a perfect opportunity to get VAR a bit more efficient, because you don't have the pressure of the crowd in the ground booing and whistling and getting restless, and understandably so. We've all been there. Everyone watching this, you've probably been to a game now with VAR, and it's not fun. You're out the loop, aren't you? So there's no crowd now. Perfect for VAR. Anyway, that's all I want to talk about, really. Just the fact that points per game could relegate West Ham. It's blackmail now. It's blackmail time from the Premier League, because they have to get 14 clubs to say yes to neutral venues for their competition to resume. If they don't get 14, the competition doesn't resume. There's a massive financial crisis overnight in the Premier League, because if it goes ahead at neutral venues, Premier League clubs can, right, okay, we've secured the money, we're retaining the cash. Now we have to think about what we're going to do in preparation for the players and the staff and that. If it's a no vote, neutrals get voted against, the clubs are now going to be thinking, right, okay, we're potentially way to lose 40, 50, 60 million here. What do we do? So whatever the vote is on Monday, I'm convinced it's going to be neutral still. I'm convinced, because all this stuff, Villa's been threatened, West Ham's been threatened. Who goes down on the original points? Bournemouth, I think, go down. If it's just points per game, full stop. I think it's Bournemouth that go down with Villa and Norwich. They're going to be getting threatened with that. They're going to be really trying to drag the nose over to the S, and I think they're going to succeed out of the possibility of relegation. Really, I think that's what's going to scare clubs into it. And also, there's a lot of clubs who, the mid-table ones, where the ones you thought might flip-flop a little bit, actually, Crystal Palace, they very much nailed the colours to the mast, and that is, we need to retain our cash. So they're 100% going to be a yes to neutral venues, but actually they're the ones that you think you might be able to get over to the no camp. Money talks at the end of the day. We've always known that. It's no surprise. But as I sort of keep saying to myself, and I keep saying on here, I know it's not the best thing, I know it's not right, but football's a business at the end of the day, and they need to keep the cash flowing, unfortunately. It's just that let's do it in the safest way possible. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow morning. I might have a new series starting tomorrow morning. It's nothing fancy, to be honest. It's nothing really different. It's just got a new name. Find out tomorrow morning. Check out Gonzo's video. Oh, Patreon. This is now the best time to become a patron of Hammers Chat if you wish, because when you join up in the first couple of the months, you get a bit longer before your next payment. That's why we don't promote it in the last couple of months. But we don't mind promoting it in the first couple, because A, it's good value, and B, we generally believe we have a good product over there. So if you want more content, the link's in the description, or patreon.com/Hammers Chat, and you can join up from $3.50 a month for a bit more Hammers Chat videos if you fancy it. Anyway, I'm going to bail, so if you drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new around here, I'll catch you in a bit. Ta-da!